Welcome everyone. Today we have a very important and also very special guide about Diablo 4. And in this video, we're looking to solve the special multipliers for each of the class and how you can potentially get a lot of more stats. So what I do in this video is, this video will be broken down into 3 parts. The first part, I want to show you guys different set of gears for my Barbarian, and that can amplify my stats dramatically. So have a quick look at my core skill and also my close damage. So I'm going to remove close damage but gain a lot of core spells. So here I just gained about 120 core skill damage, and here I'm up to 300. And I do believe if I put this over here, I get 362 core spell damage, while I'm losing about 100 close damage. So there are some stats for certain class, depending on the multipliers of the passive, you can be doing so much more damage. So on the second part of the video, what we do is, we'll have a look at the potential of using these mechanics for different classes. And one of the most outstanding class will be the Druid, hitting over 1200 more critical damage using the certain multipliers. So the multipliers they're using is coming from the Grizzly Rage. And we'll have a look at this, how to work this on most of the classes to get most of the stats. So coming over to our first part of the video, and here I do want to say a big thank you to the Mr. Raw Bacon for sharing me this particular advice, which I was not aware of. I was making my Hotter Barbarian guide, and he was saying that my core skill damage is actually amplified by 235%, which I'll show you guys exactly how, because we have a special passive, and I should be going for core spell damage over close damage. Now this might seem very straightforward, but a lot of streamers and a lot of YouTubers that I was watching to learn about barbarians, everyone went for close damage. Notice here we have, most of my gears over here previously had close damage. And I was watching a lot of, people who cleared tier 100 using close damage. But at the same time, most of the barbarians, so the first part is focused on barbarians, right? Most of the barbarians are using this particular talent of this particular passive, which give us 235% more core skill damage. Initially, I thought this is just a flat multiplier. But what I didn't know is this particular multiplier will actually amplify every bit of core spell damage you have on this gear. So here is the example I want to show you guys with barbarians. So previously, look at my close damage, it's 123. If I equip all the gears, I'm going up about 259 with close damage. So what I'm effectively gaining is, I'm effectively gaining about 137 close damage using those gears. Every bit of other stats are very similar. So using the correct multipliers with the passive of Barbarian, if I go with core skill damage, now notice that my core skill damage went up by over 230%. So here I can either get 130% with close damage, or I can get over 230% with core spell damage. And this is one of the biggest highlights for Barbarians. And if you're playing a build that uses core spell, which is Whirlwind, and this can be Hammer of Ancient, you should be going for core spells. Unfortunately, I can't really switch this weapon, because as Barbarians, we also want critical damage. So what you're looking for on your weapons now will be core spell, critical damage, vulnerability. And finally, you can go with all stats, strength, or close damage. Close damage now is much less important for the Barbarians if you're going for any of the core spells for your most source of damage. Now briefly showing you guys one of the examples I was running the testing. I'll have the whole testing replay for you guys to have a look. Now in this first demonstration, I was running the core spell damage, and you can see that my core spell damage is 362%. And here I was able to hit a lot higher, 9 million, 6 million, and the damage numbers is much higher in the first testing, which you get to see the comparison very soon at the end of the video. So 5 million, 6 million, very consistent damage over here. You can see a 4 million over here. So damage wise, 9 million is very consistent. And now let's briefly have a look. So here I switch out of the core spell into my original gears with a close damage. And here I went to find another event to do some testing. You can see there is a dramatic decrease with my damage. I'm not hitting over 9 million damage. I'm doing about 3 million. I'm doing about 4 million damage. So likewise, using this new multiplier and also new codex, using this new Affix, I was able to do about 30 or 40% more damage because of this. You can see my damage numbers are much lower, and this is the same difficulty. So over here, you can see a testing replay of me trying a tier 74 dungeon solo using different weapon setups. So the first part of the setup, I'm using my my close damage, and I'm hitting about 4 million caps. And notice that this dungeon is actually a big poison dungeon and I'm having trouble with it. I actually died once. But once I switch my gears, I do see a consistent difference as I swap my gears from the close damage to core spell damage. And even though a lot of my passives were not great in this dungeon because it's just too much poison and I even died once, but this change of build and also affix is pretty tremendous for the barbarians. And I am doing about 30% more damage because of this. They were doing so much poison damage. I'll have the whole replay to show you guys. This is a decent dungeon for barbarians, and my new build is almost ready for you guys with the speed barbarian halter build. Now, if you guys haven't subscribed, it is a really good time to do so, because I'll be covering tons of Diablo 4 related topics and also videos and also guides. We'll be looking to the top meta builds, non-meta builds, leveling up, and also paragon tricks. We're also looking to the latest events and also official updates, and also changes to different characters and also different builds in the game. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and also turn the notification on, because a lot of you who are watching the videos have not subscribed. You can see 80% of the viewers who are watching our videos have not subscribed, so make sure you subscribe to stay tuned for the latest update for Diablo 4. Now, similar to the core spell damage, I want to have a quick mention of one of the previous videos. And over here I was a little confused, and I do apologize for confusing you guys a little bit about how come we're getting extra critical damage. After going through the chat and everything, I did realize as barbarians, we also have another multiplier. So the heavy-handed, and if you can get this spell to 3 ranks, you'll be getting at least 15% more critical damage on all of your gears. So this actually amplifies your critical damage that you roll on every piece of the gear. So similar to core damage, this will amplify your existing critical strike damage. And this was what I was not aware while making that video. So I didn't know this actually amplifies similar to the core spells. So this is why with one-handed I was about 400 critical damage, with two-handed I was on 480 critical damage. And I do believe similarly, this is how when we were looking at the comparisons for the other player Conflicted, how come he was getting 176% of the multiplier? Because I do believe you can get an amulet that provides with 3+ ranks to this spell, and this will amplify this over by 30% with the critical strike damage. And this will multiply with all the stats that has rolled critical strike damage on your gears. And this makes most of the build very powerful if you do have those key passives for your character. So the two amplifiers for my build and my character is going to be heavy-handed for the critical damage and also for Unbridled Rage for the core skill damage. And I do want those affixes on most of my gears for the most benefit. Now, because I wouldn't say I'm the expert for most of the other classes, and here we're using an example for the Druid. If you guys do want to have a look at the comments over here, you can see everyone is saying that Grisly Rage is using this multiplier to amplify your critical damage by tremendously. So you can see a normal Druid can easily get over 1200 critical damage because of this. So if I briefly have a look at the Druid on the build calculator, you can see the Grisly Rage over here, and you'll be gaining additional damage over the time with each second in this form. And this is quite important because over here you also see one of the legendary aspects that provide you with 10% damage for the duration. And I do believe this is multiplied and increased because of this. And this is how the Druid class can even get over 1200, 1500 critical strike damage with 100% critical chance because of their earthen passives. So this is incredibly insane, right? And if you guys are having trouble with the Druid, you can try this combination. Now we do have a previous Druid guide, which I have the link available for you guys. So this Druid was able to clear tier 100 using this combination. So what the Druid was doing is he was using a lot of clicks. So he was using the Earthing Might passive, which allows all his earth spells to critical hit. And this will last for 5 seconds, and using the Grisly Rage that allows Grisly Rage to go into werewolf form, which provide damage reduction and also bonus damage and also bonus critical strike damage, which is insanely high multiplier. And finally, he was able to use other spells other than earth spells by converting those spells into earth spells. And this combination allows the Druid players to do tremendous damage. Now the two examples we have from the classes are Barbarians and also the Druid. So if you guys are familiar with your class, let us know in the comments below, guys, what are some of the multipliers you can find for your class. For the Barbarians, it is the heavy-handed and also the Unbridled Rage for the core spells and also the critical strike damage. And for the Druid, it is definitely the Grisly Rage for the highest multipliers. And this looks amazing. I really want to play the Druid as my second class now. So over here, what I do is I'll show you guys a quick comparison of a clip of me fighting in World Difficulty 4 and also in Tier 74 using this particular setup for different weapons after swapping them. And very soon, guys, this build will be ready for you guys. You can see this build has a lot of potential. I'm not doing 20 million damage now, but my DPS is much higher because I'm attacking so fast and also stunning enemies multiple times. So make sure you guys use the timestamps for this last part to see the comparisons of me using different weapon setups. And yes guys, I did spend the time and also effort to craft 2 sets of weapons just to try. And one thing you do want to notice, each of the weapons actually have the similar legendary aspects. So what that means is all of those weapons, the core spell damage actually have a weaker legendary aspects because I couldn't find a better one. So you can see this is a 34% and this is a 36%. This is at 38%, while this is at 40%. Even with a lower percentage, I'm consistently doing more damage using the right multipliers. Now before you go, and if you guys didn't know, we have a new YouTube channel. And if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and check out the behind the scenes and also fun clips and also more stories about us. And then you get to know me a little more personally instead of just reading the news and also the games, right? So I want to share a little bit more with you guys. So make sure you check this channel out if you're interested about Matt and also Uni. She's really funny too, and she's really shy. So I want to give her a surprise and do a shout out for the new channel to get some subscribers. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time.